Okay, so we're going to talk a bit about functions and what a function is. I'm going to erase this for loop here. What a function is a method that does something. And functions become very useful if you need to do that same thing over and over again. You can call that same function. And so whenever you create a function, use the public access modifier again. Then you type function. Oh no, wait, public. And then you type a name of the function like do something. Then you type the return type. We'll just put void for now. Public function do something. There we go. So that's how you define a function. You use the access modifier public for now, and then you specify the keyword function, and then you give the function a name followed by two parentheses, and then you can type the return type if you want. If you leave out the return type, then it's automatically void. But just to be explicit, I'm going to actually put a colon and then void. Okay, so that's the return type, and it just tells the compiler what to expect when that function returns. So right now the function doesn't do anything, but we can actually type trace, and I'll just put a bunch of dashes in there. Now if I compile right now, nothing actually happens because I didn't call the function. This main method here is our entry point to the application. So if I call the function, if I start typing do, the code hinting will come up and you can see my function do something right there. So let's just hit enter on there and then type the open parentheses and the closing parentheses. And now what we should see is some trace output. So up here you see the dashes. Okay, so that you may be wondering why would you create a function that does just something like that? Well, the answer is you really wouldn't. You can actually do other things inside of the function, but anytime the reason why functions exist is just so that you can create a method of doing something and call it again and again whenever you need it to do something. So later on when you start programming objects, it's going to make more sense. But for right now, that's what a function does. Now, if we change this void to something like string, and then we try to call the function, I'm going to try to execute that. We get a compiler error saying that the function doesn't return anything. And that's because anytime you specify anything other than void for the return type, you actually have to return something that is that type. So you use the return keyword, and then you specify, and we want to return a string, so I'll just return a question mark. And then if we execute and compile that, you will no longer get the error. Now we actually don't see the question mark because we never actually traced do something. If we trace do something, if we trace that, now you'll actually see the output on the screen. It'll be a question mark. So that's how that works. The function was called, and then the function itself, it outputted the dashes, and then when the function ended, it returned a question mark to the back to that trace. So that trace received a question mark, and then it outputted that up here. So that's how that kind of works. Now later on when you start programming objects and stuff, you'll not only return strings, but you might even return an entire object from your function call. So we'll see that hopefully in another video.